Hey, everybody. We're going to do a reading today on the full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces. Let's talk a little bit about Pisces, okay? Pisces, on the darker aspects of Pisces, can be illusions, delusions, fantasies, mental institutions, sorrow, depression, sex, drugs, alcohol, codependent relationships, mental prisons. It can be actual prison as well. I'm noticing a lot of people acting out, doing some really unsavory things, okay? I'm seeing a lot of relationships blowing up in people's faces, and I'm seeing a lot of mental health stuff and people not feeling like they're able to get the help that they deserve without catching a rap. If I'm being completely honest, it's like, I just watched somebody call for help because they were getting the crap beat out of them, and they're the one who ended up going to jail. Okay. I'm watching where I have a friend who's has a child that is got serious mental health issues, and there's no one there to help. If she calls the police to get, an ambulance there, and it's because of mental health issues, that takes hours for them to arrive. And it's like there has to be some type of a reform where there's not always complications, or there's not always repercussions to somebody like asking for help. I'm seeing that so much. It's like there needs to be, and I'm hoping that with this energy, because with the North Node going into that sign and they're starting the eclipses, I'm hoping that by the end of these transits that the right things happen, like the right people go to jail, and the right help, that we need. It's like, unfortunately with mental health, it's not illegal to be crazy. In fact, it's an open door facility. If they say, hey, I don't want to be here, they can get up and go. I've seen this exact situation in my own personal life where I've tried to help people and they're like, well, it's not against the law to be crazy. And even though they're underage, there's nothing we can do. If they want to walk out, it's an open door facility. And unfortunately, they're not there to help you. And I see, Leo here. Leo represents the children. So it's like, unfortunately, it's almost like in some aspects, our hands are tied. And this is a big thing, but this is not just what is causing it. What's the root issue to a lot of the issues that we have coming up? Okay. And that we've had not coming up, excuse me. Let me take that back. What is the root issue with the mental health and the autism and all of that in these younger kids? What causes all of this? Maybe our foods, maybe the processed foods that have a lot of preservatives and garbage and things that we can't even pronounce. The amount of whats that they give them the moment that they come out, and they barely even take their first breath. What are we up to? I remember when I was a kid, it was like maybe 5, maybe 10 at the most, and I think that's really pushing it. And I'm 45. Now, what is it, over 100, almost 200 for these children? And nobody's noticing? Because Pisces, as much as we want to turn a blind eye, you don't get to skip the zodiac. They're letting people out of prisons that shouldn't be out, but yet they're holding people in prisons that shouldn't be in. It's like this, we're in this upside down world right now. Pisces is about our health, as is Virgo. And we're going into the Pisces-Virgo axis with these eclipse points. And we're in Virgo season right now. So this has to do with your mental health, your physical health, your eye health, your gut health, your spiritual health. This is about purity. This is about service. And because we have Saturn there that's opposing Virgo, this is like crappy, restaurant care. Like everybody wants a tip, but nobody wants to do anything, right? You can't even get them back to fill your soda or your coffee or your tea. Hi, what can I get you? You want to tip me? And with Saturn now opposing Virgo, our service industry has gone to hell in a handbasket, and then they make us jump through all these hoops, the people like me who can actually help, we're not allowed to really say that we can actually help, right? We can't say what we're really doing. So I feel like what we need to do is take our health back into our own hands. And it's like, because if you're constantly butted up against a wall, you're going to have to start thinking outside the box. Pisces is also the sign of letting go. It's the last sign of the zodiac. So your only way out is through letting go. Letting go of people, places, things, addictions, codependent relationships. You have to let go. But there has to be a major reform. Look at where they got you by the balls. Pisces is a water sign, right? So in the next year and a half, 2 years, you're going to notice a huge emphasis on our water. Hurricanes, underwater explosions, submarine fighting underwater, which is in turn going to what? It's going to infiltrate the fish. Can you eat the fish after that? No, because they're going to be radiated. Just like Fukushima. We're in Pisces now, but this will be a reform on our water. It's not global warming like they're going to try and push on all of you guys. That's just a way to tax you more. That's a way to get control over you so they can say, oh, well, we're not going to let you drive to your workplace anymore. We're going to shut that down because of global warming. It's not true. If that was so true, then they would not have cars trying to plug themselves in and taking up more electricity than the grid can offer. That's why they got to do rolling blackouts, right? We've been doing rolling blackouts before fucking electric cars. This is about common sense. And there's a lot of things that are going awry because Neptune is sitting at that 29 degrees. So there's so much illusion out there. They're spinning these webs of lies and people are literally falling into them. And I can only imagine the people that clicked off this video because of what I said at the very beginning and what I've been saying all the way up until this point, because they don't want to believe it. It's a shattered illusion. The illusion is that the cops are there to help you. No, they're not. I'm not saying all of them are bad. By no means should we defund the police, but there needs to be a major, major reform. And that's what's coming. But in the meantime, it can be very frustrating for families who are having to go through these experiences that feel like their backs are up against the wall. You can't talk to anybody on the phone anymore because of AI. You got to do everything, teleprompter and telecourt and telemedical and everything. Again, where's the service industry? There's nobody there to pick up the phone to you anymore. So what's happening there? Jobs are being taken away. The world as we know it is being completely flipped upside down. And the amount of help that is out there for us is really slim to none anymore. So we have to learn how to take our own life back because we're in it alone. At the end of the day, you can tell. The court system, here's the screwed up part about the court system. And the reason why I bring this up is because we also have the South Node still in Libra. Okay, it's teetering between Libra and Virgo. Number one, I've been saying this for years. Words are weapons and you need to know how to use them. Okay? I've said that multiple times for all my followers that have been here for the long term. Okay? Number two, and this is a big one. In the court of law, it is not about who's telling the truth. It's about who tells the story better. Okay? It's not about who tells the truth. It's about who tells the story better. I know in my own personal life, and for years and years and years and years and years and years and years, my ex-husband would constantly rip me in the court and then not show up. But because I was a bartender, even though it was for a restaurant bar, I was home, before midnight, I was out there partying. That's how I was looked at because I had big black hair and tattoos, skinny little thing. And because I was being profiled from the outside in, instead of recognizing, and I had proof of everything I was saying. He was a car salesman, so therefore he's white collar, came in his polo shirt and his slacks. So of course he looked professional and like he wouldn't lie. But again, what did I just say? He's a car salesman. He's a paid liar for a living. And then there's me who's telling the truth. And because I'm point blank and blunt, he was still constantly able to screw with me and keep control over me till it got to the point where the bailiffs would pull out my chair and say, "It's nice seeing you again, Peace." And I'm like, "Not under these circumstances." And really, this is an ugly truth. In fact, I'm going to put this under my Ugly Truth podcast, because at the end of the day, this is the truth of what we've been up against for a really long time. And it's like, not just on a personal level. I've dealt with mental health. And because one time I had to call mental health to get help for one of my family members, they looked at me like I was crazy. Why? Because there wasn't a CPS report involved. I was calling CPS and not having somebody else call CPS on me. And I was saying, "Hey, I need help." And because I'm asking for help instead of the cops being called on me or somebody doing a call on me, I was looked like, "How dare you? What's wrong with her? Let me investigate her." I've been through all of these experiences through Pisces until I ended up losing my own mind at one point. Hence why I do the job that I do here today. Because every time I reached out for help, whether it was help for one of my family members or help because I need input. Like the way that I'm seeing the collective operating right now, there's no boundaries and there's really no help. And it breaks my heart to see all the things that are happening right now. And this is a lot of past life karma that we have to deal with. And again, this has to do with our mental health, our spiritual health, and our health in general. And the only way through this is through the art of spirituality, through letting go. And even if that means a family member, somebody that you love, you have to let them go. You know, I watched this thing earlier today and it was talking about, like, if you're going through the spiritual awakening and all the lies that are told about the spiritual awakening, oh, it's butterflies and lollipops and it's euphoria and that's bullshit. You want to know the truth about a spiritual awakening? There's a lot of demons and dragons that you have to slay along the way. And you have to look at parts of yourself. You don't get to numb yourself anymore. You don't get to get drunk. You don't get to get high. You don't get to just escape it. It becomes so strong and it's a part of your reality and it's ugly. That's what Pisces represents, is the awakening. Awakening to your own bullshit. And that's the hardest thing in the awakening that you have to face. It's nobody else's fault but your own. And the reason why your back is up against the wall is because you need to look at things from a completely different perspective. And it can be one of the hardest things to do. I know for me, during my awakening process, I had no choice but to let everyone go. And it was lonely until I started realizing, actually, no, it was peaceful. I am a Virgo. I'm North Node Virgo. I've got 6 placements Virgo, South Node Pisces. So I'm completely flipped around from this one. So my North Node's in Virgo. Right now, the North Node is going into Pisces. So I have my opposite coming through. What I'm going to tell you right now is the only thing that you can do is think outside the box. Again, right now, like I said earlier, there is no boundaries. But with Saturn there, Saturn is about boundaries. And the eclipse point's going to be right between both of them. So you're going to have to learn how to balance Neptune and Saturn. And my suggestion is go look up the meanings of both of them. There's plenty of videos right here on YouTube. You can also go Google what they represent and see what that means for you, or schedule a session so that we can go over how to help you maneuver these energies, because they're tricky. But you have to listen to that inner wisdom, your higher self, your intuition. You're going to have to sit down and meditate on these situations, and you're going to have to listen to that inner voice. Because again, we have Saturn opposing Virgo. Service. So again, the service industry isn't there to help you anymore. Not right now. And you're going to have to wait until Saturn moves into Aries for anything to get done. So if you're being prompted to get help, you're going to have to think outside the box. And that's what they don't want you to know. That's why they lower my reach, because they don't want me getting to the masses. Because again, you might do something differently and start taking your life back in your own hands. And they want you to believe that they're there to hurt you. But I want to tell you something. And being in the court system all the years that I was with my ex-husband, it's a business. Once you allow the court systems in your life, they're going to suck you dry. Your kids mean nothing to them. It's a business. Go look at watch the video on Netflix. I think it's called the Life of Gabriel. I went through those experiences with my own family because I had an ex-husband who was constantly battling me, that wasn't helping, just constantly hindering. And still to this day, I am still cleaning up that mess. Now, I'm not saying I was the perfect parent by no means, because I was running off of fear my entire life. But now I'm untouchable. But at the end of the day, it still took away the people that I loved the most. And I'm still having to overcome those experiences. And it's a long road. I feel for you. I feel for you. What piece of advice can you give the collective? Balance. It says a new romantic cycle begins, but I feel like this is about, for some of you, this is about court. And I do feel like the scales of balance, the scales of justice will be in your favor if you're on the up and up. What other piece of advice? Yeah, work through your fears. Work through your fears. One more, Spirit. Step out of your comfort zone. You're going to have to step out of your comfort zone. Remember earlier when I said you have to think outside the box? And this card, if you've watched me for a long time, always reminds me of prison bars on the windows. And it says conclusions are within reach. Some of you are definitely getting a divorce. Some of you are definitely getting a divorce. For some of you, you're trying to walk away from a relationship because you feel unworthy. Okay? But whatever is happening, we have that full moon eclipse right there, overall energy. Full moon eclipse, which is what we have tomorrow. We're in the energy right now. That's why everything is so freaking intense. You're going to start seeing arrests. You might actually see people who shouldn't have been arrested. But you're going to see these injustices turned back over in the other person. But at the end of the day, someone once gave me a box of darkness, and I had to realize that that too was a gift. But you're going to have to work through whatever fear, whatever sadness, whatever depression, whatever darkness. You're going to have to work through that. And there's mentors like myself. Like, all you have to do is reach out and talk to someone. Schedule a session. I would be happy to work through this with you. I've been working through this on a daily basis with people that I love the most. What it's going to cost you is for you to do something different than you have never thought to do ever. And I feel like those conclusions are going to come right around this eclipse time. If you need help, you guys, please reach out. Reach out to anyone. And if this is also about, taking yourself out, I can't really say that on social media. Talk to someone. You are loved. And I know that this was a little bit, more intense of a reading, but not all of them are going to be butterflies and lollipops. Like, the spiritual awakening isn't always what you want to hear. It's what you need to hear. I love you guys all so much. If you are interested in a personal reading, all my information is in the description box down below. I love you guys all so much, and I hope you have a beautiful full moon eclipse. Let go of what no longer serves you. You're not going to be able to hold on to it anyway, no matter how much you try.